here as one piece. So that you will introduce yourself with few words. Thank you.
Put it back on me. Friends, it's a great pleasure for me to be here with you all tonight. And I want to thank Dr. Judy, Dr. Lakshmi, Judy, and the team here at Life Research Academy for inviting me. I'm having a wonderful time here in India, and it's especially nice to come to Hyderabad, because I came to Hyderabad in December 2012, and it's really nice to come back here about 18 months later and see the changes, and I feel the changes of energy here. Hyderabad in December 2012 felt like a wonderful place to be, but I noticed a change in the energy since I've been back this time. Anybody agree? Feel different? Yes, it's different. So, I feel that you're poised here for something very special. And it's with great pleasure that I'm here tonight representing Spirit. And when I say representing Spirit, I'm representing those star nations in this galaxy who contributed an aspect of their own DNA code to create a new, upgraded species of people, if you like, for the Earth, called the human, and introduce this new upgraded species called human to the Earth around 100,000 years ago. I didn't know that I was going to be representing the Star Nations when I was Judy PR person, or Judy marketing person, or in my very beginnings of my life, in my work life. I was a physiotherapist, and I was a mother, and I've done all those jobs, if you like. You could say that this particular job, this particular role is probably maybe the most challenging, but it's certainly also the most interesting. So I want to start tonight by just giving you a little background about me, because I'm a normal person just like everybody else. I'm no different to you. It's just that Spirit have trained me to do a job, and the job they've trained me to do is to transmit sound, light and vibration into the cellular template of the body and into the DNA. So it's to do with injecting new codes of light and sound and vibration into the pattern of the human being. See? So I was born in New Zealand, and I also have a permanent residency now in the United States. And I didn't know that I would ever do anything like this. I didn't know that I'd ever speak strange languages called the language of light, or communicate with extraterrestrial beings, or be able to know what they actually said. None of this was anything that I dreamed of or planned. It was just something that happened to me. And it happened to me around 17 years ago, in 1997, when I went to a workshop in Auckland, and I learned something that you're learning here at this academy, and it was channeling. And I went to this workshop and I learned how to connect with Spirit. At that workshop I connected to a man. He looked like a man in my inner side. He told me his name was Balthazar, and he looked like a tall, dark man with a little black beard and a purple robe and dark eyes. And I saw him in my inner sight, just like when you're learning your channeling and you're doing your channeling, you probably can see beings around you or in your inner sight. How many of you in this room are channels? Have learned this skill? Because it is a skill. It's something that you all can do. Just put your hand up if you can channel and you connect to, yes, some of you. However, that's what I learned around 17 years ago. And it was really interesting for me, because when this energy of this other being connected with my energy fields, I started to shake really strongly. So that was proof to me that something was happening that was beyond my explanation or understanding at the time. That was a pretty important sign, because I think if I hadn't shaken violently with the energy, I wouldn't have believed that this was real. See? So this began my journey, and in the subsequent 16 or 17 years, I began to work with ascended masters, angelic beings, beings of light from this galaxy. Oh, okay. Just,
There are many people coming in.
There are many people are coming in. We just can push your chairs into the side and see that it's everybody.
Side.
we will squash up. We'll squash up.
Even the chairs can be put close.
And I'm reaching the next step.
Side.
So we'll squash up.
So you are seeing the oneness.
So basically, So basically you could say my journey is probably similar to some of you in this room, in as much that I was gradually taken step by step on a spiritual journey of discovery. Who resonates with that? A spiritual journey of discovery. You've gone through a similar thing in your own life, I think, some of you. Would you agree? Okay. What I noticed over the years that followed, because I also trained in energy healing. I trained in auric healing, and I used to work with people one-on-one as a practitioner. I've also done a lot of past life regression. All the things that are taught in this academy, actually, I've done, and just you know. So this was my background, my understanding about the auric field, the understanding about energy, the understanding about past lives and reincarnation, and working as a therapist in many of these modalities. But then, around 10 years ago, I spontaneously started to speak a strange language, which I call the language of light. It's a language of coding. It's a language of soul instruction, and it's transmitted through me automatically. I've never been taught it by any person. I've never even been taught it by spirit. It's just something that's happened spontaneously, and it began to happen at a spiritual festival in Christchurch, in New Zealand, called Convergence. And it happened on New Year's Day, 2002. And I went to this convergence just to hang out and meet with friends, really. And a lot of people there were healers. So the thing about the spiritual festival, you just went along and you contributed your particular abilities free of charge, and people used to go from one tent to another to try out different healing modalities and things like that. So I was in the healing tent and I was doing energy healing with people. And I had a friend there, his name was Don, and he was also an energy healer. He was also a channel. And a few days before the first, we were talking and we started shaking, both of us, with the energy. And we both got the same message at the same time, and this was that on the 1st of January 2002, we needed to bring some energy through for the people there. Now it's interesting because New Zealand has long been a place of spiritual catalyst for people. The reason for this is that in the time of Mu or Lemuria, New Zealand was a land called Omtara. If any of you have read my book, Sunshine Before the Dawn, you'll understand. It was a place called Omtara. Om, the word Om, literally means the place of the light, as it is on earth. And Tara is the name for the mother goddess of the earth, Tara. Tara is also the name of the earth before it fell in vibration. So Tara is the name of the first dimensional earth before it became a third dimensional earth. So on Tara, as it was in Mu or Lemuria, was a place where the light of belief, the light of hope, the light of understanding was kept alive. And it was open to the energy coding from higher dimensions, very much, and in that time. And it also is now. And this is why when people go to New Zealand, they feel a different energy. Has anybody been to New Zealand? It's my home, so I'm a little bit parochial. But it is also a place where you are activated into your spiritual truth, you see. So all these people were gathered there, were about 300 people from all parts of the world, but mainly New Zealand, and they were all gathered there because Spirit wanted to do an activation at that time. Because later in that year there was supposed to be some special energy coming through the planet. And so at 7 o'clock on the 1st of January 2002, we stood there in this big marquee, and Don, who's the channel, and he's always helped me bring, in the early days, he used to help me bring through the energy. And he stood behind me, and I stood in front, and I shut my eyes. I said to the people, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think something's going to happen. We're told something's going to happen. And I shut my eyes, and from out of my mouth came this strange torrent of language, which I've never heard before, and I've never spoken, what I call light language. And I had my eyes tightly shut, because in those days I couldn't like to channel with my eyes open. It put me off. It put me off balance. So I used to shut my eyes. Now I don't do that. I just, everything I say to you, I'm channeling. But I don't need to shut my eyes anymore, because I'm more practiced at it. I've practiced it for 17, a long time. So I stood there with my eyes shut. This language came out of my mouth, and I heard people laughing. In fact, I heard a lot of people laughing. And I was a bit embarrassed, so I sort of snuck one little eye open like that. And what I saw was incredible to me, because I saw people laughing, but they were sort of uncontrollably laughing. And I saw some people crying. And I saw some people totally looking like they'd been run over with a steamroller. You know that saying? Totally vacant. And what I realised had happened is there'd been some sort of energy transmission happening that had created this reaction in the people. And from that time on, I started speaking this language, and over the years, because it's now 12 years since I started speaking the languages of light, it's changed a lot. The words have changed a lot, and the functionality has changed a lot. This is what it's for, has changed a lot. In the beginning, it was to clear karmic miasms or karmic distortion from the cells of the body and from the body's energy fields. And then to activate past life soul wisdom and ability. And also to open the heart into greater capacity to feel love. They were the three main things that I used to do in the last 10 years. But recently, in the last probably 1 year to 18 months, it's been changing. And it's now to do with activating dormant DNA. What I mean is, the human being as we are now, we only are able to use a fraction of our true potential. Is that news to you? Did you know this? Yeah. We're only able to use a fraction of our true potential as human beings. And this is because when the human being was created by the star nations and by God, the Elohim, around 100,000 years ago, and brought to the earth to intermarry with the existing indigenous peoples of the earth, this human being had what's called a 12-strand DNA capacity. What this meant is that the human being, as we were originally created, is designed to be able to interact and exist in 12-dimensional worlds. 12 dimensions of reality, which is really equates to the 12 dimensions of what's called the lower heavenly worlds, where consciousness can exist in a physical form, like a flesh and blood body. Above dimensions 12, dimensions 13 and above, and there's 48 dimensions in this galaxy, but above the 13th dimension, consciousness cannot exist in a flesh and blood body like we've got. Consciousness, as in energy, can take on a physical form at will, like angels take on a physical form and they show themselves to us, but they're not in flesh and blood physical bodies like us. See, they're consciousness, showing themselves in a certain light image to us. But from the 12th dimension down to the 5th dimension, which the earth now is, used to be the 3rd dimension, beings are in a physical body. It's just that on the 12th dimension, those physical bodies vibrate faster, they pulsate faster than they do here on the earth, which is moved from the 3rd dimension now to the 5th dimension as of the 21st of December 2012. but our bodies are in transition. They're not third-dimensional bodies anymore, and most of us are not fifth-dimensional bodies yet. We're somewhere in between. See, the Earth is vibrating at this faster pulsating fifth-dimensional pulsation rhythm, but our bodies are having to catch up. And what this has been doing since the 21st December 2012 is been forcing the clearing of karma. Karma is not punishment, as many of you will know if you've studied here. Karma is not retribution. Karma is just the imprint of the disordered thoughts, beliefs, the energy of thought and belief that we have either created ourselves in past lives or other people have projected at us and it's stuck into our energy field. This is karma. And so what's happened since the 21st of December 2012 is that distorted energy that we've created as belief or understanding has been coming up to be released. And this is why, probably for many of you, 2013 may have been a bit of a challenging time. Would you agree? Yes. What happened for you in 2013? How did it affect you? Just yell out to someone. How did it affect you?
Creating a lot of self-trust and confidence in being conscious.
So did you have any releasing before that happened?
Yeah, a lot of releasing. In 2013, all of a sudden, for no reason, I used to cry a lot. For no reasons, for days together. And something was happening and I was not knowing. And then physical something situations happened wherein I got my power back. That's in 2013 it was my power back actually.
That's wonderful. Well, that's really wonderful.
To hear that, and that's exactly right. For those of you who were on an accelerated spiritual path in 2013, the old inhibiting, limiting aspects of self would have begun to fall away. It could have been challenging though, because we've been put in a whole new paradigm, and the ego personality self has to catch up with that paradigm. And for those who surrendered to what was going on and let it all happen, it would have been easy. But for those that tried to maintain an old status quo of how life had been lived before, it probably would have been challenging. Agree? Yes. So 2013 was a time of transition. We're now in the third month, almost, yeah, we're in the third month now, of 2014, 15 months later. And things are getting smoother for us. It's becoming easier for us. We're beginning, as you say, to access the truth and the power of ourselves and step more gracefully into these understandings and this new awareness. Okay? We're poised now for the good stuff to start coming in. Okay? And this is what I'm here to deliver to you tonight, is to bring through energy in the form of light language to start the good stuff happening within all of you. And I'm not doing this with any knowledge, pre-knowledge of what I'm doing, because I'm a channel. I'm doing it in the moment with you, as we speak right now. So it was interesting, I was having a little complaint to Pradeep earlier, and said I couldn't sleep last night, I had so much energy coming through me, and it was 1:32 a.m. before I slept. Did anybody else experience?
I have not slept in 2020 whole year.
Oh.
Seriously, I have not slept since I came for Sierra first last year. Since the day before that, I haven't slept. Yesterday night, I slept on 3:24, and the next day I can't go to office, and nobody knows that I'm not going to office. So, I mean, it is worth it all, but I can't sleep at night. I have not slept.
There are several reasons, but your reason is that you're on an accelerated path and you're being really opened up. And so I'd like to talk to you more about it later too. Maybe when you have questions you
I'm
can
scared.
ask.
The whole quarter that I like.
You're fine. But what's also going on with you is that your energy fields are on high alert. So we'll work with this later. So bring it up again when you have questions. So Spirit want me to come, they asked me to come along tonight for two reasons. One is they want to allow or help you all to integrate some new energy. And the second reason is they want you to understand what this integration is all about. So we're going to begin by helping you integrate the new energy and then go into the understanding of what it's all about. So this is a bit like a crash course. It's a crash course that won't hear one night. What I want to do is just start by doing some light language energy work and let you feel it for yourself. So I want you to shut your eyes. You don't have to shut your eyes to feel the energy, but it's good, I think, when you start to do it, because it enables you to feel what's going on in your body much more clearly than if you had your eyes open. I want you to shut your eyes. And I want you all to understand that you are all on an accelerated spiritual path. What this means is that you are being opened up by energy into new awareness, new understanding outside of your personality self, outside of the realms of understanding of who you think you are. Because it's who we think we are is not who we are. And now what's going to be happening for all of us on this accelerated spiritual path is that your sense of reality will begin to change. This is something you need to just surrender to, because when we try to fight and hold on to an old way of being, it's uncomfortable. So don't be concerned about this. It's just part of what we all put our hand up to do a long time ago. We all of you in this room, have a soul contract. You know what I mean by that? An agreement. An agreement that you have made before you incarnated into this body in this lifetime. To do something to help the earth and to help the people of the earth and to help God, the divine plan. That's really important. And we all have our unique reason for being and what we're here to do. And some of you might have clarity about that right now. You might know exactly what you're here to do, but some of you might not. And it doesn't really matter, because at the perfect timing, God will show you. So just shut your eyes and let the energy begin to open you up to these understandings. If you shut your eyes, you'll find it's interesting, because you might start to get visions, maybe past life visions, or visions of your future. So the strange language that comes out of my mouth, there's several reasons for it, but in this particular case, what it's doing is it's beginning to open up memory, beginning to open up soul memory and soul understanding. It's like unlocking doors of rooms of treasure that we haven't been able to access for a long time. You know, there's so much wisdom, I call that the treasure. So much wisdom and knowledge within us on a soul level, because just like we have karma, which is the unpleasant aspect of reincarnation, we also have soul wisdom locked away within our DNA, within our soul's Akashic records, which is the positive aspect of having lived all these lives. But normally we can't access that wisdom. Now it's time to access this. So some of you might be feeling like little rushes of energy. Who is feeling that? If you don't feel anything, don't worry. Doesn't matter. Everybody's energy field is unique. We all have different past life experience, and that's what sets us apart and makes us unique. So in this room, this beautiful room of the golden treasure, which is our soul wisdom, there is knowledge and information that Spirit wants us all to access and bring into our consciousness. And this wisdom and knowledge from past life is different for everybody. Now, I want you to put your hands crossed over at the top of the chest, just here, below the clavicles, the top of the chest. Put both hands there, crossed over each other. This place on the body is to do, I call it the soul seat. It's part of what's called the hara line. And the soul seat is to do with soul sadness, soul trauma, the storage of energy around unpleasant things that have happened to us in some other lifetime. So we're going to work to clear any energy that's blocking this area. Some of you might feel a heaviness, increasing heaviness there. Anybody feel that? What this is doing is that the energy is lifting this energy up and lifting it out. So it gets heavy before it comes out. It's sad. It's to do with sadness of the soul. Take a big deep breath again. Spirit telling me right now to communicate to you all that it's important for all of us to understand the truth of who we are. So I'm going to tell you the story, which I've written in the book that I brought through, called Sunshine Before the Dawn. But it's a story of the Galactic Council, which is a bit like the United Nations within this galaxy, deciding that there was a need to remedy a problem concerning Earth, because the Earth beings around 100,000 years ago had degenerated because of something called the rebellion of the fallen angels, and the Earth's shift from being a fifth-dimensional star called Tara to a third-dimensional planet called Earth. And so the people on the Earth had actually degenerated a lot. We could call them Neanderthal man. They weren't like modern men. But this degeneration was a falling away from what they had been previously. But the genetic DNA of this original human being, this humanoid type human being, was not able to be advanced by words, new words of recreation. In the beginning, God spoke the word. It says that in the book of Genesis in the Bible. This is not about religion, ladies, it's about eternal truth. But in the beginning, God spoke the word, and the word was light. What's happening now is that new words are being spoken, which are energy, light, sound, vibration, and colour. And the new words are creating changes within the DNA script or the DNA recipe of mankind. This is only beginning, and it's going to go on for the next 20 years, because as you will know, I'm sure, we're at the beginning of a new great age on Earth, a new 26,000 year cycle for the Earth, the previous age ended on the 21st of December 2012 or thereabouts, and this has shifted now into this faster pulsating fifth dimensional vibration, different to how it was before. And this is the beginning of a new great age, a new fifth golden age of peace. And the Sanskrit scriptures and writings and the Vedic texts all tell this time, this fifth golden age. And this is true. And this is what's actually happening now. So the original creation of the 12-strand DNA avatar human being was created 100,000 years ago. 8 men and 8 women, I was told, were brought to the earth at that time to seed the earth, to intermarry with the existing people on the earth, and also intermarry with a lot of star people who came to the earth from different star nations like Sirius or Pleiades. And they came to create and settle colonies called Atlantis and Mu, or Lemuria, which means the motherland. This is why these colonies were created in the first place, because the people who settled these colonies were from the stars. So, around 100,000 years ago, the cry went out to many beings on different star systems. Please, can you come to Earth? Please, would you be willing to give up your Pleiadian lifetimes or your Sirian lifetimes and your Sirian bodies and come to the Earth and take into yourself this 12-strand DNA avatar human genetic code. Be born on the Earth as a little child on the Earth. And when you're born on the Earth as a little child on the Earth, you can't go back. Because when we are born on the Earth, we're calibrated to Earth vibration, you see. And Earth vibration at that time was third dimensional. So we were calibrated into third dimensional bodies. We had the potential of being a 12-strand DNA avatar human being. This was our genetic code. But because the Earth was vibrating in the slower pulsating third dimension, that potential couldn't be switched on and activated. And so I put it to you that at some time in the past on a soul level you said, okay, I'll come. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? That you decided to come here? We made a choice. All of us did. And so we came to the Earth and we let go of the memory of our lifetimes on other star systems. Because you know what it's like when you come into earthly life. You forget what your past lives were all about, don't you? That veil of memory is drawn over each life. And so we came into the first life maybe maybe on Atlantis or maybe in Lemuria. And from that time on, the only thing we had to guide us through all of these lifetimes to keep on track with everything was the still small voice of our own intuition, the God self within, the consciousness of light that we came with. So, you know what it's like to follow the truth of your inner guidance? Yes. Well, that was our radar for 100,000 years probably, of lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And as we all know, life on the earth is not an easy thing. Life on the earth is hard. It can be very difficult. The earth is and always has been a place of duality. It's a place of soul learning. It's a place of ingathering soul wisdom. And you don't get this opportunity in the higher dimensional worlds because they resonate with light and love and nobody does nasty things to anybody else. Like people on earth do. Earth is a place of duality. It's a school of hard knocks. It's a school of learning for the soul. So we learned. And during that learning, we created beliefs about ourselves. We created beliefs about life itself. We created beliefs about the earth and about reality. And these beliefs, over time, gradually were interpreted by us as us. You see? You know, say you were in a lifetime 5,000 years ago and something really nasty happened to you and you were hung, drawn and quartered. Horrible torture they used to do. You would still retain the vibrational memory of that torture. And that vibrational memory of that torture would then become part of what's called your morphogenetic fields, the substrate patterns of sound and light on which your physical body is built in the next life, and the next life, and the next life. And so you can see how, when you get to this life, where you've maybe lived hundreds, if not thousands of lifetimes, you're really weighed down with a lot of negative baggage and self-limiting thought form. See? This is why this energy that's now coming in is clearing the way very quickly for all of us. But we're all at the point now where we've dumped a lot of the karmic baggage. Would you, everybody in this room, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is really joy and peace, where would you be on the scale? Would you be over 5, between 5 and 10? Would you agree? Most of the time? What do you think should translate? Ellie? I'm going to get you to do a crazy summary. So I didn't realise that some of you don't understand English. So I'm going to go a little bit slower, and Pradeep is going to give a summary of what I've said. A 2-minute summary.
Last question. ఎవరికైనా ఇప్పుడు 0 to 10 లోపల 10 వచ్చి నేను చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉన్నాను, 0 అస్సలు సంతోషంగా లేదు. దట్స్ ది బ్యారియర్. అలా నేను ఫుల్గా సంతోషంగా ఉన్నానని ఒక చేతులు.
Yeah, thank you. See, it doesn't really matter where we sit on that line. What matters is we understand that what we think and feel about us and about our life and about other people is not us. It's not real. Do you understand? It's not real. Spirit have given me a little saying for real, R-E-A-L in the English language. It means reality, extending, always in life. So what this means is that what we think is real is not real. It's just repetition of the same old stuff. See? So what we're all being asked to do is let go of our perceptions, misperceptions about what we think life is and who we think we are, and begin to understand that we are so much more than we dream we are as human beings, and because of this, so much more is becoming possible. The topic of the talk tonight was be all you can be and more. Okay? And this is what is happening for humanity now. We are being called upon to understand that we have this capacity, potential, as human beings, because of our innate 12-strand DNA, avatar, makeup, to be all that we can ever have dreamed possible, much more than we think we are. And when we connect into this understanding, what happens is that we begin to change the way we view ourselves. We begin to change the way we view life, okay? So Spirit have quite a bit of energy that they want to deliver now. And it's the energy of the words that will do the changes. You don't have to do anything except just relax and let the energy do the work. And the changes will happen automatically in their own unique way. So I want you just to summarise what I've said.
సో స్పిరిట్స్ అంటారు. స్పిరిట్స్ అంటే మన దేవతలు అంటారు. రిలేట్ చేసుకోండి. సో దే జూడీ ఈరోజు వచ్చి షీఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు బ్రింగ్ సమ్ ఎనర్జీ, కొంచెం ఎనర్జీని తీసుకొస్తున్నారు అనమాట. దాని ద్వారా స్పిరిట్స్ ఎనర్జీని రేడియేట్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో ఆల్ యూ నీడ్ టు డూ, మీరు ఏం చేయాలంటే కళ్ళు మూసుకొని జస్ట్ స్పాంజ్ టైప్లో అబ్జర్వ్ చేసుకోండి. ఇందులో బుద్ధికి అర్థం అవ్వాల్సింది ఏమీ లేదు. ఇట్స్ అన్ ఎనర్జీ వర్క్. మీరు ఫీల్ అవుతారు, మీ శరీరంలో ఫీల్ అవుతారు. స్పాంజ్ టైప్లో కళ్ళు మూసుకొని అబ్జర్వ్ చేసుకోండి.
So when I say what it's about, you just speak it into it. You don't have to speak the light language. Just the instructions. Just instructions. Okay, this is to do with healing. It's to do with advancement. Yellow.
ఇప్పుడు జరిగిపోయే హీలింగ్ అంటే తెలుసు కదా మీకు.
But it's not healing ourselves just in this lifetime.
ఈ జన్మకు సంబంధించింది కాదు, గత జన్మల్లో అన్ని సంబంధించి ఇప్పుడు హీలింగ్ జరుగుతుంది.
It's healing ourselves through all lifetimes since we came to the earth.
మనం భూమి పైన ఫస్ట్ పుట్టినప్పటి నుంచి ఇప్పుడు దాకా ఉన్న కార్మిక్ బ్యాగేజెస్ కానీ ఎమోషన్స్ కానీ వాట్ ఎవర్ ది నెగటివ్ స్టఫ్, బ్యాడ్ స్టఫ్ going to heal now.
Okay. So, if you want to, shut your eyes, and if you don't, that's okay.
కళ్ళు మూసుకుంటే మీకు ఎఫెక్ట్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది. నేను కళ్ళు మూసుకొని అంటే అది మీ ఇష్టం.
We're going to, and you just yell out what it's about, each segment. So we're going to start working with the chakra system.
సో ఫస్ట్ మనం స్టార్ట్ చేసేది చక్రా సిస్టమ్. చక్రా సిస్టమ్ తెలుసు కదా. సో we're going to start with చక్రా సిస్టమ్.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to start with the base chakra.
మూలాధార. Starting with
So I want you to just hold your hands palm up. The base chakra is about survival as you feel.
so that we are receiving the energy field. Close your eyes.
And this is important to understand that how our chakras are functioning and what is vibrating in our energy field will directly affect how we think and feel psychologically.
ఈ చక్రా సిస్టమ్స్ గురించి మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవడం చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్, చాలా ముఖ్యమైనది. ఎందుకంటే ఈ చక్రా సిస్టమ్ ఈ ఎనర్జీస్ని బేస్ చేస్తే మనం ఎట్లా ప్రవర్తిస్తున్నాము, మన జీవితం ఎట్లా పోతుంది, మనం ఎక్కడ ఆగి ఉన్నాము, మనం ఎక్కడ ఎదగాలి, ఈ విషయాలన్నీ మనకు చక్రాస్ పైన డిపెండ్ అయ్యాయి.
And it will affect what we experience in life and what comes to us in life.
మన జీవితంలో మనం ఇప్పుడేమి మనకు జరుగుతుంది, ఏమి మనకు జరగబోతుంది, ఇవన్నీ కూడా మన చక్రా సిస్టమ్ బేస్ పైన ఉంటాయి.
So this energy from spirit will pull out distortion very quickly.
సో మన చక్రా సిస్టంలో ఏమన్నా కొన్ని ఎక్కువ తక్కువలు సరికానివి ఏమన్నా ఉంటే ఈ స్పిరిట్స్ వచ్చి దాన్ని సరి చేస్తారు.
No more is it about months, years or even lifetimes. No more is it about months, years or even lifetimes to clear this.
అంటే ఈ రోజు నిన్న ఈ జన్మలో కాదు, ఎన్ని జన్మల్లో ఉన్న ఎక్కువ తక్కువలని ఇప్పుడు సరి చేస్తున్నాం.
We'll do it in 5 minutes because there's no time to waste.
గత జన్మలో మన భూమి పైన పుట్టినప్పటి నుంచి ఉన్న అన్ని ఎక్కువ తక్కువలు ఇప్పుడు 5 నిమిషాల్లో జరుగుతాయి.
Spirit of work for all of us to do, and we have to be ready.
సో స్పిరిట్స్ ఏం చెప్తున్నారంటే ఇంకా మనం వేస్ట్ చేయడానికి టైం లేదు, 5 minutes లో జరుగుతుంది, మీరంతా రెడీగా ఉండండి.
And it's time to get into our power.
మన ఒక సొంత పవర్ ని మనం చేయించుకునే అవకాశం మనకి ఇప్పుడు ఉంది.
Mukoki ise izebe shirmena kada bela kuzemena kuzadia. Elle budigo otabediga is say kola bedigo isi. Melego isi de bedikiti. Elle go isi. La de bela isi de bela kola bedigo bediki. Elle kisi to say. Elle kola bediga isi. Olla gide bela isi de bela Lula beda uhura beda gulu bini de beda isi de beda gulu beda sura beda beda here. Legal beda gulu usi lula beda here. Lili de beda here. And then the gulu usi de beda sura beda isi. Gulu isi kusia. Ishtiak. We're also working here with the energy fields around the body.
మన చుట్టూ ఉన్న ఎనర్జీ ఫీల్డ్ ఎప్పుడు పనులు జరుగుతున్నాయి.
Koloko ushi ise de beda kada beda go ise beda beda isi de beda isi laki. Easy de beda sura de beda isi de beda usi de beda isi de beda isi. Clearing out distortion.
ఏదైనా ఎక్కువ తక్కువలు అన్ని సరి అవుతున్నాయి.
Kozi ise de beda kasi beda. Laga beda isi de beda usu de beda. Lugar beda isi de isi. Akesi. Amboka le goi hishi muro de menana de kuzidi de beleza de barakuya. Elle de Medical Gozu de Buya. Elle de flushing the central vertebral power current of the body. This is Shona channel.
మన వెన్నుముక్కలో ఉన్న దగ్గర ఉన్న ఎనర్జీస్ అన్ని మన సరి కానివి అన్ని బయటకు వెళ్ళిపోతూ సరి అయిన దివ్యమైన ఎనర్జీ మనలో ప్రవేశిస్తుంది.
Just take a big deep breath.
బాగా శ్వాస తీసుకోండి.
And we're working now with what's called the core star. This is the core soul's light, and anything that has caused our soul's light to be dimmed, we're releasing this.
ఇప్పుడు మన ఆత్మ మనం దేనికోసం పుట్టామో మన ఆత్మ కర్తవ్యం దానికోసం పుట్టాము. మనం దేనికోసం పుట్టామో ఆ కర్తవ్యాన్ని మనం కరెక్ట్గా ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్లే ఒక పరిస్థితులకి మనం ఇప్పుడు ఎనర్జీ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నాం.
Kuki shi siela ne so ko si si shi na ma ko siela ki za yi se da do shi na ma na ko za de do be di le go go ki da ko si di ko si mo go lo la de bi za ko si la ko si di da ba ko si di la ko si di mo ko si la ke si Now we connected into a point on the earth, all of us, called the Earth Star.
మనమంతా భూమి లోపల ఉన్న ఒక హృదయానికి మనం కనెక్ట్ అవబోతున్నాం. మనం
This is what gives us balance and harmony and groundedness with the earth.
మనం ఈ భూమికి మనం కరెక్ట్గా కనెక్ట్ అయ్యి సరైన పరిస్థితుల్లో మనం కరెక్ట్గా కనెక్ట్ అయితే అది మన జీవితంలో ఒక బ్యాలెన్స్, ఒక సంతోషము, మనం దేనికోసం పుట్టాము ఆ కర్తవ్యాన్ని, ఆ ఆత్మతృప్తిని మనం చేసేదానికి ఉన్న కరెక్ట్ అయిన ఒక అనుభూతిని ఇస్తుంది.
So we're going to increase our connection with the earth so that we become more grounded. A bit like widening the base of our own pyramid. Because when we widen the base of our own pyramid, we can go higher with the apex of that pyramid. The pyramid is a figure or a symbol of transformation and new creation. This is why when you meditate within the pyramid, you are activating the energies, you are increasing the capacity of the energies of new creation to impact you. What we're doing now, what Spirit are doing now, is activating soul wisdom. Glaka e se ko ishi seta gase pakosa la kisa de sa de tsesia. Mokuloko loko oki izele kesa akaza pakosa de kusa de kosa de sto de la kisisi. We all have our own unique path, and in order to help us walk our own unique path, we need to pull on the information and knowledge from previous lifetimes that will most serve us and to do this. Mokoloka isti ku ishi evelko isavadisiti. Malakaze de goza de shada malakaze de bidke. Malasala no malakas. Malkize de goza la kiza la kuzi si.